Hey everyone, it's Evangeline here at etrailer, and today we'll be taking a look at how the RockyMounts AfterParty swing away bike rack fits on the 2020 Acura MDX. So the RockyMounts AfterParty is pretty much the RockyMounts GuideRail, a dual wheel mounted bike rack that can also swing away. So if you want a full look at the features and specs, check out the great demo my friend Aidan did on this bike rack here at etrailer.com. We're going to focus on the Acura MDX, mainly how much clearance do we actually get and how much can we carry on this rack. It has a 60-pound per bike weight capacity. If you need to open up the hatch, like the guide rail, you have to tilt that down, which means you have to lift all that weight on your own. If you have this fully maxed out with that 60-pound per bike weight capacity, that can be a pretty heavy lift. Now here for the AfterParty though, you don't have to lift. You just turn this knob till it releases from the rack. You pull the knob at the end in order to release the rest of it. There is a long thread there. There we go. And now you just swing the whole thing away. And there's a lot of pivot to this rack, so you can make it work for you. The top part pivots, the side pivots. So if you need to get just a little more space there, you can bring this all the way out, or you can just turn it out to its side, just like this. So with it in this position, it's out of the way, and you now have full access to your cargo area. So if you need to grab some bags, grab your waters, maybe hang out here behind your car, you can do so. Compared to a bike rack that tilts away, this is a little bit easier, and it gives you a lot more space. The downside is it does take a little bit more time compared to just pulling a lever and dropping it down. But fun fact, this also does that. So we're going to bring this back in. You do have to be mindful. With all of its pivot points, just try to prevent or avoid your bike rack from pivoting towards the vehicle. Also, please make sure that this knob is tightened down before you hit the road, because this is what's holding that first tray together. All right, with this secured, you still have the features of the guide rail. So you can still pull that handle, tilt it away, open up the hatch if you need quick and easy access, and then just lift that up and it snaps into place. This is a dual wheel mount bike rack. There's that 60-pound capacity. There's the all kinds of frame capacity too, because this is only holding onto your wheels. You don't have to worry about if you have a carbon fiber frame bike, step-through bike, children's bike. This has that security without touching that frame. To take it off, it's a very quick and easy process too. Flip these levers up and then push the mounts out. So 1 and 2, just like that, you are now ready to hit the trails. So it's going to be the same thing, loading your bikes up. So just like the guide rail, you have that fast process, you have that 55-inch wheelbase, you have the trays where you can slide your bikes back and forth to get the best fit between them. And this will take up a similar amount of space. So measuring from our bumper to the end of the AfterParty, that's 31 inches of clearance. There's a stadium style, so you have plenty of ground clearance. Although, when talking about ground clearance, like for example, this end tray is 28 inches off the ground. Not so much concerned about steep inclines like driveways or hills, but slightly more concerned about lifting your bikes up and into that rack. So hopefully, what I like to do is just pivot one front tire up here and then get the second one up with that extra stability. You can also fold this up, taking measurements here. There's plenty of clearance, about 4 inches between our bumper and our cradle, or I guess our tray. And then from our bumper to the end, that's 17 inches. Big difference compared to when this was folded down. You'll have it in this position when you're just driving around town. And if you want to open up the hatch, look at that. There's still clearance with the bike rack folded up, which is impressive. That means if you're coming up to this, you have groceries in your hands, you don't have to tilt this down and away. you can put it right there into your cargo space. But what is it like living with a bike rack behind you all the time? It is nice that you don't have to sacrifice your hatch door with the bike rack on, but also notice how much visibility you have behind here. Tail lights visible, rear window visible. Your backup camera sits above that bike rack. Your license plate slightly covered, but mostly visible too. So when you go into reverse, what's going to happen is you're going to kind of see that bike rack, but you'll also be able to see if there's any people or cars behind you. With all that being said, this works really well with the MDX. My favorite part is even with it folded up, you still have door access, which is really rare for a folding bike rack. Now, with that swing away, that is helpful if you need more space behind your car, or maybe you don't want to tilt it away, but you want that ease of use for that extra heavy bike. Now, this is also at a premium price point too, so something worth considering is you may want something a bit more affordable, which could be the RockyMounts monorail that has a similar weight capacity, slightly more effort into loading up your bikes. We also have the solid rack that can work with your Acura MDX. But for something that can swing away, carry heavy bikes, and looks pretty good, this was a look at the RockyMounts AfterParty Swing Away Bike Rack on the 2020 Acura MDX.